Hello friends, welcome to the King YouTube channel. So, Harry and Meghan, oh dear, their trip to Colombia, what a disaster. Honestly, it was doomed from the start. Nothing positive came out of it. It was unstable from the beginning, and I didn't see any real purpose in it. Let me break it down for you in this video. Isn't it interesting how sometimes when you perform on a big stage, everything seems perfect? You get praise, applause, and for a moment, it feels like everything's going great. But as we've seen recently, this wasn't the case for Harry and Meghan during their so-called royal visit to Colombia. It reportedly cost the Colombian government over $1 million in security expenses with all the police and everything else involved. What a mess. It's easy to see why people might think that. But many are now asking, especially in the Colombian media, what was the point of all this? That's the real question on everyone's mind right now. What was the purpose behind it? Sure, we learned that a 3-year-old found their voice, but there are more pressing issues happening back home. These aren't just about Meghan's cooking show either, they're tied to the fragile deal they still have with Netflix. But as George Formby famously said, it's turned out nice again, and maybe that will be the case for them come next March. In time, everything eventually falls into place, doesn't it? In a similar vein, Meghan Markle recently claimed that despite her husband enjoying his work in the entertainment industry and having 7 projects in progress, 2 of their planned shows, a culinary show and a polo program, have stalled. This delay seems to be due to some issues with patents, registrations, and other bureaucratic hurdles. So, do you think Harry and Meghan should drop their food and polo shows? If you believe they should, comment number 1 if you think they should keep going. Comment number 2, personally, I'm not buying this excuse. It feels like Netflix realizes these shows might be a bit of a flop and needs to move on to something else. The events in Colombia have only made things more difficult for Harry and Meghan. Let me explain. Imagine you're in Netflix's position. They're looking at the situation and thinking, we did Heart of Invictus and it wasn't a hit. Then there was that business program that no one even remembers, where Harry and Meghan were executive producers. Recently, we also shared about the odd situation with Carly Fortune and the Meet Maine at the Lake project, which didn't pan out as expected. Now there's yet another idea floating around. Netflix, of course, took notice when Colombia's vice president expressed excitement after learning about Harry and Meghan through their Netflix docuseries, the same one where they criticized just about everyone, including, some might say, themselves and their own reputation. As we move forward, this is the feedback Netflix's upper management has given to Harry and Meghan. Essentially, they told them it was a successful endeavor. These are the kinds of things people love to see you do, so why not do more? But here's where things get tricky. While it's clear that Meghan has never hesitated to step in front of a camera or microphone, she's not opposed to the idea at all Netflix is after something more intense. They're looking for drama, gossip, and the latest controversies. They want the real, unfiltered stories, including what happened when Harry came over for the coronation. Netflix is eager to uncover the truth behind it all. The deal Harry and Meghan have today, whatever you want to call it, is what justifies the money they're making. But this is the tricky situation the Sussexes are facing right now. Their appeal, if we can put it that way, is fading. Netflix knows the audience craves more than what's currently being offered. It's obvious what the viewers want. A cooking show hosted by a former actress teaching you how to be nice isn't what the audience is tuning in for. The idea of Meghan loving her garden and making friends might sound charming, but where's the garden? Where's the cooking? And what happened to those friends? The audience isn't seeing what they signed up for, and that's a problem. This is the big question: will the Sussexes eventually fall apart? It's clear that Netflix is in a tough spot, and we can see why. Some say that a toxic personality is behind the rift with the UK and the royal family. When it comes to social climbers, they often succeed in blending into aristocracy and royalty, but with someone who's driven by a need to dominate, it's a different story. They'll take down anyone in their path. Harry didn't seem to listen to the warnings. Once Meghan set her sights on him, he was hooked. Not the smartest move, some might say. And let's not forget, she was invited back during Yacht Week, where she supposedly excelled at riding the waves, among other things. There's also the incident in Nigeria involving her inappropriate behavior with schoolchildren, which hasn't been forgotten either. Up until now, Meghan's behavior with the teenagers in Colombia has been the most inappropriate. She's dangerous and someone should step in. What's even more surprising is that Meghan claimed she could speak Spanish, but when Michael Boo's wife tried speaking to her in Spanish, Meghan admitted she didn't understand or speak the language. It might as well have been gibberish considering how hard it is to follow what she's saying. The real purpose of this trip, it seems like Harry and Meghan just wanted to score a free vacation at the expense of a third world country. That was the whole point. As someone once said, the Markles are nothing but oxygen thieves. Maybe next, Meghan will empower women by teaching them how to steal someone else's husband. She even seemed to try it with a horrified William. Meghan's behavior on this trip was completely inappropriate for an adult woman. Meghan showed a complete lack of respect and honor to her hosts. It's like she's most comfortable on a yacht with underage boys and grown men. That seems to be her happy place. Maybe that's exactly what Netflix is after, a showdown between the Colombian vice president and Duchess Meghan, the kind of drama-filled content they love, and of course her flirting with the vice president's husband was utterly inappropriate. She has no class at all. The expression on his face makes me think he might have taken her up on what she was offering, and the vice president's quick reaction stepping in to block Meghan suggests she was well aware of what was happening. On top of all that, how selfish it was to make Colombia foot the bill for their security. Why do they even need security? No one's paying them any mind. Apparently, the vice president has received several threats on her life, and from what I've read, the security was primarily for her. Plus, there weren't any crowds lining up to see Harry and Meghan. The only people there were their own crew and the security team. The security detail for Harry and Meghan was more extensive than the actual number of people who showed up. It's a farcical waste of resources and money. It's hard to imagine any other country would sacrifice their own resources for these two unless they've been watching this debacle unfold and have caught on. The money spent by the Colombian government should have been used to help the poor. Harry and Meghan didn't do anything to improve their lives. It's shameful how Meghan flaunts her wealth in these impoverished countries. I've read that many people relying on government assistance were furious about the money spent on the couple, especially since they haven't received their checks in months. Hopefully, this fiasco will reveal the true intentions of these celebrities. Just think about how that $2 million spent on security could have benefited the people of Colombia. It's mind-boggling how these two will go to any lengths to get attention while trampling over innocent people. They claim they want privacy, but their actions show them to be the ultimate hypocrites with no class. Meghan, in particular, promised a lot but delivered nothing. There was a rumor that the vice president hoped Meghan could persuade the US to cancel Colombia's debt. However, there's no concrete evidence to support this, likely just media speculation. The Markles also mentioned bringing Archie, which only added to the confusion and disappointment. Overall, it seems like this trip was a self-serving vanity project. Its main purpose was to feed their enormous egos, gain publicity, and give a middle finger to the royal family. It was grandiose with no real benefits or justification for the people of Colombia. It mainly served to inflate their sense of importance. The trip used up a lot of resources without giving anything back to the Colombian people. Additionally, there was something very strange about the interactions between Markle and the vice president's husband. Many Americans are growing tired of their constant complaints, and we're fed up with wealthy public figures telling us how hard their lives are. Personally, I'm exhausted by a foreign prince trying to undermine our constitutional rights. Celebrities should stay out of politics because their involvement often angers the very people who made them rich. In short, Harry is just a foreign prince who doesn't like part of our cherished constitution and publicly complains about it. He seems intent on limiting our right to speak and publish freely while he and his wife continue their own agenda. Harry seems to want to reserve the right to speak freely and make false accusations only for himself. He believes those rights should be protected solely for his use while dismissing our freedoms of speech in the press. This is the same Harry who bragged in his ghostwritten book about frustrating his father by refusing to even pick up a book, let alone read one. Despite attending an excellent school without having to pay for tuition, room, or board, he barely passed any of his courses except for one art class that was probably done with the help of a paid tutor. Harry's intellect seems questionable at best. Thank you all for watching my video yesterday. What are your thoughts on today's discussion? Please feel free to share your opinions in the comment section. I hope you'll support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Goodbye, and I look forward to seeing you soon.